Welcome back to another episode of Followers of the Way. I'm your host, Jeremiah. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the truth of UFOs. That's right. We're talking about UFOs in today's episode. If you like me, definitely hit that subscribe button, the like button, the share button. And if you want to support the content, you want to support me, definitely go out and get a copy of this book, Who Do You Say I Am? Don't take my word for it. Read the comments, read the reviews. This book is a must-have. Go for a deeper dive in a companion by popular demand. Who Do You Say I Am? The study guide. Both can be found on Kindle, Amazon. I do leave a link in the description. And so if you want to know where to find it at, just hit the link in the description. Also, I leave my email. People do email me. I respond. If you have questions, concerns, I'm here to help. If you want to build, friendship, I'm here for that too. So why are we called followers of the way? Old Testament, New Testament, the people of Yahuwah are not titled by labels. We are called to follow Yahusha because he is the way. 95% of the things I talk about on this channel come by way of revelation. Therefore, we need the spirit of revelation because Yahuwah is a revelation. Father, give us eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart to understand what your spirit is saying to your people. All right. Let's talk about the truth of UFOs. All right, let's put this to rest. Let's put this whole mythology of UFOs and aliens and the extraterrestrials that we've been hearing and seeing for centuries. Are you ready to put this to rest? Are you ready to really know the truth of UFOs and aliens? If so, stick with me, because by the power of the Ruach, I'm about to blow the lid off theology and open your eyes to truth. And the Bible says the truth is what set us free. Here are the questions that we hear around the world. Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are we alone? What are people seeing in the sky? What are these people encountering? Visions and dreams and manifestations. These are the questions that we all ask. I did when I was younger. I did when I lacked truth. Right? So, what if I told you? Well, before I tell you what I believe, let me ask you a question. Do you believe UFOs are real? Do you believe aliens are real? Do you believe there's other planets out there, other life? You believe that? Now, this is not a wrong or right answer. This is a question. Do you believe in UFOs? A simple yes or no. Okay. Let me give you my answer. Might shock you. Do I believe in UFOs? Absolutely. Do I believe aliens are real? Absolutely. Now, I done lost half of you. Stay with me, right? How can I say a believer of Yahuwah believe in UFOs and aliens? It's simple. This is not the Bible, but let's pretend it's the Bible. The Bible itself is full of UFOs. The Bible itself is full of aliens. From the front to the back. You didn't know that, did you? Okay. This is not something you're going to hear on your mainstream TV evangelists. This is not something you're going to hear in your churches. Probably not. What you're about to hear today is a revelation. A revelation when it comes to the power of identity. That's the difference. So if you don't learn anything else, I want you to give me 3 fingers. Here are the 3 fingers. Do aliens and UFOs exist? Yes, that's finger 1. Finger 2 is this. Can we identify what we see? And finger 3 is be not ignorant of Satan devices. All right, let's use a little bit of common sense here. How many of you went to an aquarium before or a zoo and you seen things you can't identify? Whether in the sea life or the animal kingdom, right? At the zoo. I don't identify everything I see when I go to the aquarium, and I can't identify everything I see at a zoo, but it doesn't scare me because I can get my phone out and I can look at the little information board there and I can read what it is I'm looking at. And once I identify what I'm looking at, it frees me of fear and using my imagination, because the power is not do that sea animal exists. The power is not do that animal exists. The power is in identity. And once you identify something, the question is not do it exist? The question is, what is it I'm looking at? What am I looking at? That's the power. The power is in identity. So we're going to talk about UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrials, and strange phenomena, right? But before we begin, the Bible gives us a warning. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11 says this: lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. And that's finger 3. Don't be ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay. You think Satan's really going to tell you the truth about UFOs? No. You think Satan's going to tell you the truth about aliens? No. Let me tell you why. It'll expose them. Because Satan knows the power is in the identity. Okay. Yahusha asks his disciples the questions. Who do you say I am? And when they found out who the Messiah was, the power was in the identity and the name of Yahusha. There's power in identity. The question is not, do Yahusha exist? The question was not, did the Messiah come? The question is not, did Yahusha walk the earth over 2,000 years ago? The question is, who is he? Who is Yahusha? That's the question. And the power is in the identity, not the existence. And that's key. All right. Here's the real issue. What the world tells us today about UFOs and aliens is based on fear, imagination, culture, and their deceptions, their descriptions. Okay. Let's say you was born 150 years ago. It's usually imagination. And back then you seen people, right, being possessed and something evil speaking out of them. And let's say you had no knowledge of Yahusha. What would you call that? You would call it everything in a book: alien abduction, possession, evil spirit, different personality. You would call it everything in the book because you can't identify what it is you're looking at. And because we can't identify what it is we're looking at, we cannot get the right remedy. So everybody get the stage and get leaves and get smoke and get ash, and none of it works. How can it work? We don't know what we're looking at. We can't identify what is what we're looking at. We just like throwing stuff up against the wall, hoping that it works. Why? Because the power is in the identity. So let's be honest here. It's the things that people experience, the things that we see, the things that we hear. Are they real? Absolutely. Some things are spiritual, some things are holy, some things are deceptive, some things are demonic, some things are angelic, some things are signs, some things are judgment, some things are vision. So yes, unidentified things happen throughout the world. Notice I said unidentified things happen across the world. But once we can identify what is taking place, then we have knowledge. And knowledge is what? Power. But if we can't identify it, we're going to say it's a UFO. We're going to say it's an alien. We're going to call it whatever we want to call it out of our fear and out of our imagination and our lack of knowledge to truly identify what it is that is taking place. Now, let's go back to the Bible. Remember I said that the Bible is full of UFOs and aliens and extraterrestrials? It is. Okay. Remember Abram before his name was changed to Abraham? If you look at the book of Genesis, chapter verse 12, verse 1, it says this. Now Yahuwah has said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land I will show thee. Now, remember, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not know the true covenant name of Yahuwah. They called him El Shaddai. Now, El Shaddai is not a name, it's a title. Picture Abram, chilling, minding his own business, and a voice come, boom, and tell him to do these things. Now, if that happened to me right now, a voice came to me that I cannot identify, is going to fear it. I'm going to get scared. So my fear and my imagination will take control of me because I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. But Abraham obeyed and he listened. And as Abraham obeyed, Yahuwah began to reveal himself to Abraham. I'm El Shaddai. Now, the voice of Abraham, the voice of Yahuwah came to Abraham and said, go sacrifice your son Isaac. Then the angel came, spoke to Abraham and said, stop, don't do it. So Abraham, as he walked, the identity of Yahuwah was revealed to him. Not the name, but Abraham knew he was talking to the Creator. And when Abraham identified the voice, he didn't call it an alien. He didn't call it a UFO. He didn't call it an evil spirit. He didn't call it Satan. Why didn't he call it that? He could have. He had every reason to call it that because the identity of that voice was revealed to him. Now, Isaac and Jacob, same thing. Now, Jacob wrestled, the Bible says, with an angel, right? Why didn't Jacob say, I wrestled with a devil? I wrestled with the alien. I wrestled with the spirit. He could have. But the Bible says that Jacob wrestled with the angel all night. See, the Bible gives us identity, what Jacob wrestled with. So we can read the Bible and say, oh, Jacob wrestled with the angel, because the identity of what wrestled with Jacob was revealed to us. And now that we have the identity of what took place with Jacob, you and I can't call it a demon. We can't call it an alien. We can't call it an unidentified creature because the Bible reveals to us what it is. You see? So at that time, if you're wrestling with something, you don't know what it is, you're going to call it whatever your fear and imagination want to call it. The power is in the identity. Same thing with Moses. Moses, 80 years old now. He's 80 years old. Minding his business, see a burning bush, no smell of burnt, no smell or the sound of crackling wood being burnt. Moses he got curious and got closer to the bush. Moses didn't know what it was. So at that time, if I'm walking and I see something like that, I'm going to call it a strange phenomenon. I'm going to call it a spirit. I'm going to call it strange fire. I'm going to call it some type of alien invasion. I don't know what it is. I cannot identify what was taking place. So when Moses began to investigate this strange fire, the voice came from the fire and said to Moses, I am Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. At that time, Moses was fearful because he identified whom he was in the presence of. He feared because he knew who he's in the presence of, but he didn't fear because he didn't know what was going on. So Moses cannot, and the Bible cannot call Moses encountered an unidentified object. Moses had an encounter with an alien. Moses had an encounter with the spirit. Moses had an encounter with the demon because the Bible identify whom Moses had an encounter with. And that identity is the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So Moses had an encounter with the Creator, identified. You see, the power is in the identity. If we didn't know whom Moses came into contact with, today we will all be divided. Some would say it was an alien. Some would say it was a demon. Some would say it was a UFO. Some would call it whatever they want to call it out of their fear and their imagination. I'm talking about the truth of UFOs all throughout the Bible. The difference is we have the identity of what took place. Now, Ezekiel, if we lived in Ezekiel day, what we are hearing today about these flying saucers and these beings with big old eyeballs and little green men, whatever you want to call it, in the days of Ezekiel, the days we are living in today, Ezekiel experienced over 4,000 years ago what people say they're having an encounter with. Now, Ezekiel seen things like the flying saucers, what people say today, Ezekiel seen it. Now, you got to read the whole book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, to really understand the things that Ezekiel seen, because they would have called them what Ezekiel seen today, UFOs. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4. Check this out. Ezekiel said, "Now look and beheld, a whirlwind came out of the north." A whirlwind came. He seen something flying coming out of the north. And a great cloud and fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, and out the midst of it was fire. Now stop. If somebody today said they looked up and saw a whirlwind and a great cloud, fire folding into itself, brightness all about it, and amber colored radiance coming out of the middle of it, what would they call that? A UFO, meaning a unidentified flying object. That's the definition of UFO, unidentified. Let that sink in. Unidentified. And if we can identify it, will we still call it a UFO today? Ezekiel seen what we call today a UFO. Now, check out these creatures Ezekiel seen. Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 5 and 6. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 creatures. Notice he called them creatures. Let that sink in. And this was their appearance, and they had the likeness of man. He didn't call them men. He said the likeness of man, meaning they kind of look like a man and they kind of didn't. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. Now think about that. 4 living creatures. They had the likeness of man, but everyone had 4 wings. What is 4 times 4? That's how many wings he's seen. And everyone had 4 wings. If a person said today, I saw a being that looked partially like a man, but they had 4 faces and they had a bunch of wings, what would they call that today? An alien. An unidentified creature. Ezekiel seen what we call today an alien. And what's that? An unidentified creature. Alien, what we call today. Now check this out. These beings had 4 faces: north, south, east, west. And these 4 faces in Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 10, they had the face of a man, a face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. Have you seen anything that had a face of a man, ox, lion, and eagle? And when they walk, they don't turn their head, they just go. Now, you and I, when we go right, we look right. When we go left, we look left. When we go back, we turn back. We don't got four faces. They did. Now, if you and I seen something like that today, let's be honest. Let's call it for what it is. I would call it an alien. Absolutely, I'm going to call it an alien. You know why? Because I cannot identify what I'm seeing. So my fear, my imagination takes over. Alien, unidentified object. I'm on the news. I just seen an alien. Why? Because I can't identify what I just seen. You see, Ezekiel? Now, this is over 4,000 years ago, people. 4,000 years ago. Ezekiel seeing what we call today UFOs and aliens. Now, check this one out. I think this is the most scariest one. Picture this. You see this ring here? Picture this ring having a bunch of eyeballs all around it and throughout. Now, these things are massive. They're not human size. They're massive, right? You got to read the book of Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 15 and 18, right? It says, now as I beheld the living creature, behold, one wheel upon the earth. One wheel upon the earth. It was huge. It had rings. If you look at verse 18, it said, and their rings, that they were so high that they were dreadful. You know what Ezekiel was saying? When I looked at these creatures, it was such a horrible thing to look at because my imagination, I never seen nothing like it. He was terrified. He was fearful. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. Now check this out. These rings, it said, and the rings was full of eyeballs. Can you imagine something big, rings full of eyes throughout, don't blink, looking at you and looking everywhere else? Yeah, that is a pretty dreadful. And I'm going to call that what? An alien. I never seen something like that before. That to me is a unidentified creature that my fear, my imagination, my understanding going to call an alien. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to call it because I cannot identify what it is I'm seeing. I'm talking about the truth about UFOs and aliens. Now, let's get back to reality. When we read the book of Ezekiel, does the book of Ezekiel call those creatures a UFO? Do the book of Ezekiel say Ezekiel seen UFOs and he had an encounter with extraterrestrials? He had an encounter with aliens. Does the book of Ezekiel reveal that to us? No. You know why? Because the book of Ezekiel revealed to you and I that Ezekiel had encounters what is identified as angels. So the identity of what he encountered was revealed as angels. So if the identity was revealed to Ezekiel and the identity is revealed to us, then we can't call it a UFO. We can't call it an alien. We can't call it an extraterrestrial. Why, Jeremiah? Because the identity was revealed. You see, the power is in the identity. Like I said, the Bible is full of UFOs. The Bible is full of aliens. But what the Bible gives is the identity of what took place. So we can't call them aliens. We can't call them UFOs. All right. Anytime a person throughout the Bible had an encounter with an angel, what is the first thing an angel would say to them? Check it out. Matthew chapter 1, verse 20. An angel appeared unto Joseph in a dream and told him, fear not to take Mary as thy wife. An angel came to Mary. Fear not. An angel appeared to the four shepherds. Fear not. Luke 1:30, Luke chapter 2, verse 10. All of these angels said, fear not. Why? Because the presence, the appearance of an angel is scary. Because angels, not all of them, don't look like us. We just seen Ezekiel. Angels having 4 heads. Each of them wings, rings full of eyeballs, fire, amber, bright. They don't look like us. So if they don't look like us, fear not. And then the angel give the identity of what it is. And when the angel gave the identity, what the Bible says, an angel appeared, an angel appeared, an angel appeared. It doesn't say an alien appeared, a UFO appeared, extraterrestrial appeared, an unidentified creature appeared. It doesn't say that. It gives the identity of what appeared. Therefore, because we know it's an angel, we can't call it anything outside of that. I'm talking about the truth of UFOs. Now, we all heard about alien abduction, right? Okay, let's take Mary. Mary, who gave birth to Yahusha. Now, the Bible says Mary was a virgin, right? Okay. Let's take this in real time. Let's say today somebody who was a virgin got pregnant. No medical treatment, no medical help. They got pregnant, right? Okay. A lot of people today will say that that person got abducted by alien and the alien impregnate that person. That's the only way they can have a child. So this person is going to give birth to half human, half alien baby, because there's no way we can identify how a virgin can conceive a child without conception. No way we can do that. So our fear, our imagination, we're going to become mythological, and we're going to call what took place unidentified alien abduction. That's the only way we can do that, right? And that makes sense. And I will buy that story because I don't know. Makes sense to me. So let's write it in the history books and let's go with that. But when Gabriel appeared unto Mary, fear not. Mary knew it was an angel. And the angel explained to Mary how a virgin was going to conceive a child. And the angel came to Joseph and said, chill, this is what's taking place. So they identified how a virgin can have a kid. If they couldn't identify that, Mary to this day would have been not a virgin in history. She cheated on, Joseph and so on and so forth. And by today, people be like, no, it was a alien that impregnated Mary. That's what we're here today. If we couldn't identify what took place, and because we can identify what took place, we are not freaking out about a virgin having a kid. Think about that. Have you ever heard of any great debates about the conception of Mary, a virgin? No. Why? Because we can identify what took place. Do you see how power is in identity and how Satan devices is? He don't want us to know the identity. All right. What I'm getting ready to share with you is going to help you identify UFOs. Yeah. What I'm getting ready to share with you is going to help you identify aliens and extraterrestrials and whatever else you can't identify. All right. This can be found in the 6 days of creation. Truth in plain sight. It been there before our eyes since day one. All right. Day one, what was created? Light and darkness was separated. Day two, the heavens, the firmament, and the waters divided. That took place. Day three, dry land appeared, and then the herbs came. Day four, the sun, the moon, the stars, appointed seasons and times and years. Day five, sea creatures and birds. Day six, land, animals, and mankind was made. I'm talking about the 6 days of creation. And we all know the seventh day, Yahuwah rested. Now, this is where I want you to come close. We missed something. We missed something that is going to help us identify what NASA, history, news tells us today. It's going to help us identify the truth about UFOs and aliens. Now, here's the truth. Do UFOs exist? Yes. Stop. Do aliens exist? Yes. Stop. Again, the question is not, do UFOs exist? The question is not, do aliens exist? They do. All right. The question is, can we identify what it is we are seeing? Nobody asked that question. We want to make sure, do they exist? They go to the White House. They ask the president, are UFOs real? Are aliens real? Yes. Anything we can't identify, we give a name. So yes, it's real. The question is, what are we looking at? What is it that we see? That's the question. Now, I'm about to reveal to you through the Bible, not me, forget me, what we're looking at. Let's take a deeper look at the second day of creation. Now, on the second day of creation, in the book of Genesis, Elohim made what? The firmament, the heavens, right? Notice something that Elohim did not say when he made it. The first day, he says, he saw the light, that it was what? Good. And he separated the light from darkness. The second day, if you read it, he did not call the second day good. Uh-oh. I think we just identified a problem. So if you want to bring the book of Enoch in, the book of Enoch tells us what took place in the second heaven. The second heaven are the falling angels. Yeah. In the book of Enoch, the third heaven is paradise on one side and hell on the other side. So it's impossible for Yahuwah to call the second day good when he know in the second heaven is evil. He knows in the third heaven there's hell. Evil angels in hell can never be good. So he couldn't call the second day of creation good. All right. So what are you saying, Jeremiah? You know what I'm saying. And before I get there, let me add another layer onto it, and I'm going to make it all make sense. Let's talk about the stars. At night, we look up, we see the stars. A lot of people believe they're planets and galaxies and whatnot. The Bible says that the angel tail drew 1/3 of the stars in heaven. Now, we all know that Satan deceived 1/3 of the angels in heaven. So according to the Bible, according to the book of Enoch, what are the stars? Angels. So when you see a falling star in the sky, what are you really looking at? A fallen angel. Biblically speaking, I'm trying to help you identify something. Follow me. Now, remember the watchers? There was 200 watchers and their job was to watch, and they came down and they made it with the women. Yeah, those. It was 200 of them, right? History. They say that the earth was hit over 190 times by meteor rockets. 190 times. The Bible says that 200 watchers hit earth. Make it make sense. Now, some we know fell into the water because there's 4 of them in the river of Euphrates to this day with eyewitnesses who heard and seen things they can't identify. Right? So, if the earth was hit over 190 times, why don't the earth get hit again? I mean, they just said that we got hit by a meteorite, right? Where? 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 You saying all these things took place in history, but ain't none of it happening today. Yeah, the earth did get hit over 190 times. The Bible says 200 fallen angels hit the earth. So that makes sense to me. But you said the earth is still getting hit today? Where? Where? So what hit the earth? Things they can't identify. So they want to call it their fear and imagination and make it mythological. But the Bible tells us 200 angels identified hit the earth. The Bible tells us 1/3 of the stars fed, 1/3 of the stars was deceived. The Bible tells us the stars in heaven are angels. So stars are identified by angels. Now, in the second heaven is what? Fallen angels. Let me help you understand something. When we, the believers, are resurrected, the Bible says that our bodies will be changed in the blink of an eye. So this corruptible flesh will put on incorruptible. I'm going to have a glorified body when the trump blows and the people rise in Yahusha, going to have a glorified body. Do you think the fallen angels still got their glorified body? Do you think Satan, which was beautiful, do you think he still got his glorified body? No, they don't. Okay. Do you think the people that is the unbelievers who would not make it to heaven, do you think there's glorified bodies right now burning? No, they're not. It's called fall from grace. So their body changed. Remember, angels don't look like us. Not all of them. They shapeshifters. They can take on many forms. So we really don't know the appearance. Remember Eve in the garden talked to a serpent, right? A serpent. So we really don't know how they look. So what are the people seeing? These UFOs, these aliens that comes from the second heaven. What's in the second heaven? Fallen angels, according to the Bible. Forget me. So what people are having encounters with? Fallen angels, demons. And because they can't identify the demons, their fear, their imagination kicks in and they call it aliens. And it makes sense. If I was Ezekiel and I seen a being with 4 heads, a lion, an ox, and a man in an eagle face, I'm going to call it a alien as well because I can't identify it. Ain't no demon, ain't no devil for to come to you and say, hey, I'm a demon. Hey, I'm Satan. What's up? The Bible says that Satan comes as an angel of light. So because these people cannot identify what it is they see, what it is they hear, they call it unidentified object. They call it unidentified flying object. Remember, Ezekiel seen angels that can fly with different bodies like a ring. Do you think all the angels in the second heaven look like us? So what are the people looking at, Jeremiah? That the Bible identifies in the second day of creation. They are seeing fallen angels. Now, I didn't say they're seeing evil spirits. They're seeing fallen angels. They are seeing demons. And they are calling them aliens because they can't identify it. They are calling them UFOs because they can't identify it. Now, let's talk about demons. Remember the Nephilims? Yeah, the Nephilims, the giants, when the watchers came down and made it with the women and had giants. Yahuwah said in the book of Enoch, he's going to destroy their offsprings and y'all going to watch them be destroyed. And their spirits, Yahuwah said, shall be called evil spirits. So what are demons? Evil spirits. So when these demons possessed people were speaking in the days of Yahuwah, these are the spirits of the Nephilims. Identified. So when you see an evil spirit, you're looking at the spirit of a Nephilim. Identified. Do you see the difference? That's a demon. That person is possessed, yeah, by the spirit of a Nephilim. So why are you scared? Why are you afraid? I just told you what you encountering. You encountering the spirit of a Nephilim, which you got power over through the name and the blood of Yahusha. They're afraid of you. Why are you afraid of it? How can you be afraid of something you can identify? If they can't identify it, then they're afraid. But if we can identify what it is we see, we got power over it all. Over it all. Yahusha said, I give you power to tread upon serpents. I give you power over the devil. The Bible says, greater is he that is in you and I than he that is in the world. Who is in the world? The power of darkness. And we got power over it all. Why? Through the name of Yahusha. How did the archangel Michael defeat Satan when it came to the body of Moses? Through the name. How did Satan get cast out in heaven? Through the name. Yahusha says, these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. So we, the believers, don't call them UFOs. We don't call them aliens. We identify what they really are. Fallen angels, seducing spirits, evil spirits, and demons. Not aliens. We can identify. So the answer, right? The question is not, do UFOs exist? Yes. Something you can't identify. The question is not, do aliens exist? Yes. Something you can't identify. But if you can identify it, then you know exactly what it is you are coming in counter with. I'm talking about the truth of UFOs. Now, let's get to the heart of this. Why does the world believe in aliens? Because people are encountering phenomena they can't explain. But instead of starting with the scriptures, they start with movies, imaginations, and it spread rampant. The Bible says faith comes by what? Hearing. And we see these things, we hear these things, it produces fears, it produces imaginations, and we begin to believe in UFOs and aliens and abductions. Right? Okay. Here's a fun fact. Let's say Yahusha never cast out a devil, right? And today we see somebody speaking with a different voice. What do you think we would call that today if Yahusha never identified what it was? We would say that person got abducted and possessed by a alien. Right? Because we don't know. That's what we're going to call it. We can't identify it. And you got this strength and you got this voice coming through your body and I don't know what's going on. It's an alien. It's an alien. An alien abducted you. Right? Because we can't identify it. When Yahusha walked the earth, he identified them. Exactly what they were. And what did he call them? Evil spirits. And what are evil spirits? The spirit of the Nephilims. So that's why the world calls certain things what they are, because they cannot identify it. So with all that being said, I want you to understand something, that the takeaway from this. And what I'm saying plainly is this: are UFOs real? Yes. In a sense that people really don't see and cannot identify what it is they're seeing. Is aliens real? Yes, in the sense that people really don't have a clear understanding what they are encountering. But the deeper truth is this: the name man gives these phenomenons does not tell us exactly what they are. They don't know. They cannot identify it. And because they cannot identify it, a lot of people are ignorant of Satan devices. All right. Follow me. You ever been around somebody who didn't talk much? Right? You have a hard time being around somebody who's not transparent. The Bible says, if two walk together, they must what? Agree. If they don't agree, how can they walk together? Yahusha said, to us, the believers, his people, is given to know and understand the mysteries concerning the kingdom of heaven. Why? He got to reveal things to us in order for us to have a relationship. How do you build trust? By talking to him, and he's telling me things, and he's intimate with me, and I trust him. But if he don't tell me who he is, and he's quiet, how can I trust him? I can't identify him. And if I can't identify him, I can't trust him. Do you believe Yahuwah wants to be identified? Exactly. The Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh, revealed. The intent of the Most High was to reveal himself. Who did he say? Who do you say I am? He was revealing to his disciples and the world who he is, because he wanted to be identified. If he didn't tell us who he is, he would be a UFO to us. Yahushua would be an alien to us. But he's not, because he revealed who he is. Now, name one person who do not reveal himself as who he is. Think about that. Who is it that never reveals himself as who he really is? That's right, Satan. The Bible says, be not ignorant of Satan's devices. So, what are they looking at? They're looking at fallen angels and demons who do not reveal themselves. And because they don't reveal themselves, they are identified, unidentified objects, unidentified creatures. They are aliens, and they got supernatural powers. But to you and I, the believers, we see right through it. We are not ignorant of its devices. So we understand the truth of UFOs. We know what they are. We understand the truth of aliens. We know what they are. We understand the truth of the supernatural, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We identify our enemy, and we are given power over our enemy through the one that revealed himself, which is Yahusha. Do you understand me? I am blowing the lid off all of this mythology, all this man-made theology about UFOs and aliens. No, there is no such thing as that. Why would the Father put us on an earth and we can't identify these things? What kind of father is that won't give us the truth of what we are encountering? He's going to give his kids the truth of what we are encountering, but to the world, they call it unidentified objects, aliens, unexplained supernatural beings. People, with all you're getting, definitely get understanding. And the understanding is this: we wrestle not with things we cannot identify. But we wrestle against principalities, identify. Spiritual wickedness in high places, identify. Governments and the ruler of darkness, identified. So everything that we wrestle with is what? Identified through the scriptures. You, as a believer, how can you say you don't know what it is that they see? How can you not identify when they say there's UFOs? Yeah, to you it's a UFO. But to me, a believer, that's a demon. That's a fallen angel. To you, it may be an alien, but to me, the believer, no, that's a fallen angel. That's alien abduction. No, to you, it may be an alien abduction, but to me, the believer, that's the evil spirit. You see, the identity is in what? The name. What it really is, but the power is in the identity. So when you can call it for what it is, and we know what it is, then you take this message and you change your history in your life. You change your history in your kids' life, and you let them know it ain't no such thing. To a believer of anything that is unidentified, because we all know this: if an angel ever come to us, it's going to reveal itself. But if something comes to us and it doesn't reveal itself, then we should know what it really is: an evil spirit. And if we can identify that as an evil spirit, then we got power over it. For it is written, greater is Yahusha in me, in you, than he that is in the world. So what are you getting? Get understanding. And here we keep Yahusha as king.